Alright everyone, if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, then you probably should have seen this coming. For those of you who are new, I am a die-hard Potterhead. So with Fantastic Beasts and we're gonna find them coming out this November, I think it's time to take on the Harry Potter saga. Every 2 weeks, leading up to Fantastic Beasts. So, on this day, July 31st, which happens to be Harry Potter's birthday, let's begin. Dun dun da dun dun da da da. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Yes, I am here in the US, so we got the Sorcerer's Stone. The legitimate version in the UK, that's called the Philosopher's Stone. So I would call it that if I really wanted to be legit, but I grew up with the Sorcerer's Stone, so I'm calling it that. The version I watch is the Sorcerer's Stone. That's how we have it here in the United States. So the Harry Potter series starts out, Harry Potter is a little young 11-year-old kid who's being raised by the worst family ever, the Dursleys. These guys are complete douches. They ended up having to adopt him because his parents died, the cause of which we'll get to later. And they treat him like shit. Yeah, you got Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia, and they love their son Dudley. And then one day they find little baby Harry on their doorstep. They're like, oh, great, we gotta take care of this thing too. For some odd reason, they just hate the living crap out of this kid. So Harry's living his normal life, which he hates, until one day, his life changes for the better. He's approached by a man named Rubeus Hagrid, played here by Robbie Coltrane, which was actually JK Rowling's decision. He comes up to Harry, gives him a letter. You have been accepted to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. You're a wizard, Harry. Which, yeah, how would you feel if you were a kid, someone approached you and said, hey, you're a wizard, come over to this school, we're gonna teach you how to use magic. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure I would tell this guy to fuck off because he's probably a creep, but not in this case. Harry believes him and he joins him, and Hagrid is actually right in this case. He takes Harry to, first of all, we see Diagon Alley, and yeah, it's a whole magical world. You gotta love the vibe of these movies, man. The one word to describe the vibe of the first few movies, like the first probably 3 movies of this series, is whimsy. Yeah, it's all about the magic and fun of it, because this is the introduction to this world. And Harry also learns about how his parents died. Hagrid explains it to him, that back when Harry was a baby, a dark wizard named Voldemort killed his parents. And then Voldemort tried to kill little baby Harry himself, but he failed. His killing curse rebounded and actually drained Voldemort of all of his powers and left Harry with nothing but that really sweet lightning bolt scar on his forehead. Harry Potter is the boy who lived, and so because of that, he is famous in the wizarding world. So yeah, just think, just yesterday he was living his crappy life, being abused by these 3 douchebags, and now he's entered a world where everyone adores him because he lived through an extraordinary event. That's nuts. And so we go to the train station, we get on platform 9 3/4, we take the Hogwarts Express, and we're off to Hogwarts. And along the way, we meet Ron and Hermione. Now, Ron Weasley is gonna be Harry Potter's best friend, and it's one of those friendships where they meet for like 5 seconds and they instantly click. I mean, they get along right away. You know, they're eating candy on the train, they're talking about Ron's pet rat Scabbers trying to turn him yellow and failing at it. Hermione takes a little while. In fact, there's something that my brother's friend once said about her that I've never forgotten when it comes to this movie in particular. Me, my brother, and him were sitting down watching the film, and whenever Hermione's acting all snooty, we just sat down and called her stuck-up bitch, because that's what she is. She's a stuck-up bitch. She's all like, oh yeah, well, I know every spell and I can do everything. That was my Hermione impression, I guess. Of course, she does end up being best friends with Harry and Ron by the end of the film. They just don't instantly click like Harry and Ron did. And then, of course, we also meet Draco Malfoy, who's gonna be Harry's rival in this film series, the Moriarty to his Sherlock. There's no real good example of this in this film. There's a really good one in the next film. But for now, this film just establishes that they're gonna have a good rivalry later. Now, the child acting in this film, you gotta get past nostalgia on this, because I sat down and watched this film earlier today, and is a child acting good? No, it's actually really not. Nearly headless? How can you be nearly headless? I know what that is. It's an invisibility cloak. You just gotta face the fact that it's not great acting, but it's still fun to watch. It's like kind of fun bad acting where you know they have potential and they do get better as the series goes on, of course. It's not like as bad as Anakin in Star Wars Episode 1. It's acceptable child acting. Now, like, the middle third of this film is just hanging out with the students at Hogwarts. We meet the faculty. Great actors here. Richard Harris as Dumbledore. He would only be Dumbledore for the first 2 films, because I think he died like right before the second one came out. And he does a really good job. Maggie Smith as Professor McGonagall, awesome. But of course, the one that stands out among all of them is Alan Rickman as Severus Snape. Amazing. This dude is one of the most memorable characters in the entire series. In fact, I think, at least for this generation, this is the role that put Alan Rickman on the map. Since before this he had Die Hard and Galaxy Quest, now he's just one of the funnest celebrities to impersonate. Mr. Potter, our new celebrity. Yeah, he and Harry don't exactly see eye to eye. You don't really know why he's kind of holding his edge against Harry, all you'd think, is that you think he's got some sort of secret. He's probably hiding something. The way he's looking at Harry, you're like, what's going through his mind right now? That'll be a mystery, alright, throughout pretty much the entire film series. One of the greatest things this film does in particular is it teaches a lot of good life lessons. One of my favorite segments in this film is the one about the mirror of Erised. Harry stumbles across this mirror that shows you your heart's deepest and most desperate desire. So for Harry, whose parents were both killed before he even knew how to talk, he sees his own mother and father standing right beside him, and they're together as a family. You just can't help but wonder what you would see if you looked into that mirror. I know I've thought about it. But then Dumbledore shows up, catches Harry in the act, and he teaches him, "It does not do to dwell on dreams, Harry, and forget to live." You're like, yeah, I get it. And then you get to the last act of the film, which is all about the dark stuff, the actual Sorcerer's Stone, what it's about, what it can do, and why a certain bad, evil wizard Dark Lord wants to grab a hold of it. Harry, Ron, and Hermione had to go through this series of challenges to get to the stone before the bad guy does. And it's fun, it's exciting, it's cool to watch. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, and the end twist in this film will actually blow your mind at first. It's one of those things where you watch it and then it blows your mind, you learned everything, and then you go back and watch the movie again, and you see all these little things that you haven't seen before. You're like, oh my god, wait, that was there the whole time? Wow! And that's just the first movie/book. And of course, I cannot talk about Harry Potter without talking about the music, and the first 3 films had their music composed by none other than the maestro John Williams. Y'all know Hedwig's theme. Da 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 da. I actually think it's one of his most popular themes he's ever written. I mean, yeah, I think it's right up there with Star Wars. It's great stuff. I mean, what can I say about John Williams that hasn't already been said? He's a musical genius. So in the end, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Philosopher's Stone is a great beginning to what is going to be one of the best film series ever made. It's a great introduction to the world of Hogwarts and the wizarding world. The characters Harry, Ron, and Hermione, they have great chemistry. Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson. Those 3 actors, man, they will end up forming a friendship that will last forever and gaining a really big fan base. The Harry Potter movies, man, watch them. So, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Philosopher's Stone. Have you seen it? Have you watched it recently? How does it rank among all the Harry Potter movies for you? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.